Hey, I'm Kelly Breeze, and this is A New View. And what we try to do here is we try to take some everyday struggles and we try to give you a fresh perspective and truth. We know that you can search all over the place, but we want to be a place where you can find some truth. And today I've got some amazing people. I have got, of course, Pastor Clay Baggett, who I always love just to sit down and have a great conversation with.
A nice cup of coffee.
And a nice cup of coffee. We have to have that. And today I've got an amazing new dear friend, Laura Mayer, a wife, a mom, podcast host, speaker, and a powerful voice for women. Thank you. You made a trek to be here today, and I appreciate that so much.
I'm so glad to be here.
So we're just hanging out. I don't want to talk about this. Now, it's a heavy subject, but if everybody sticks around, we've got some good news. We've got a good perspective and some good truth to share at the end. But if you are scrolling past this, if you're looking just for a distraction because you've had a relationship go south, you've had betrayal in a relationship, a coworker, a friend, and you just feel lost, you've been wounded, I want to start out with, what kind of truth do you want to tell somebody they've just gotten here and they're desperately looking for answers and truth? What do you want to tell them right now?
Let's start with you.
Okay. It's not permanent. You know, oftentimes when you've just gone through something really hard, it feels like this is going to be my forever. This is now the new bumper sticker that's on my life, the scarlet letter, something that's now defining me. And I have not found that to be true in my own life. I've not found it to be true in the lives of people that I get to talk with and minister to. So it's not final. And I think that's one of the lies that the enemy tries to sell us, is that, okay, like your path is forever detoured. You're never going to recover from this one. This is too big. This is way too big for God to pull you out of this one. And especially if there's any of it that you feel like was your fault. It's like, well, you know, I played a part in this, so, you know.
And that's true. I mean, you know, I always tell people that, and I deal with a lot of this as you do, is, you know, people sometimes are surprised when it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. It didn't come out of nowhere. You know, there are things that happen along the way that brings us to those places, and then we're dealing with the repercussions, or I don't want to say the repercussions, we're dealing with the emotions of that moment and the hurt, the loss. It's my fault. And I think, as you said, I think is a great response, is that it's not forever. Yeah, we're broken. I mean, we could talk about any kind of hurt. We can talk about any kind of loss. None of it is forever unless you allow it to be. You know, Isaiah speaks and he says that forget the former things. You know, I love that passage. You know, behold, I do a new thing even now. Anyway, the idea of that is beautiful because it's not about forgetting the past. If you go back and study that, it's not about forgetting the past. It's about not letting the past control what your tomorrow's going to be.
And only you get to decide that.
That's exactly right. I love that.
Well, okay, I thought about this earlier. When you're going through something, you hear this phrase a lot: God hears your prayers, and God holds your tears. And in the moment, it doesn't help a bit.
Yeah.
Have you ever had that feeling where you thought, okay, great, he hears my prayers, but nothing's changing. And great, he holds my tears, but they're still there. And what do I do now? And how do I sit in this moment knowing that nothing is changing right now?
First, let me say this, as the only guy in this conversation.
You've been outnumbered today.
None of us guys are sitting around going, you know, Jesus holds your tears.
That's what talk about that,
right?
That's just not part of our conversation. But no, but you're right. It's what do we do?
Yeah. You know, I remember several years ago kind of being in that space, and I knew God was with me. I knew all the things that I had been taught in church, but knowing that in my head did not take away what all was going on the inside. And so I think when we offer that religious platitude, it's like, here's a Band-Aid. This should make all the boo-boo go away. You know, no, it doesn't. Everything still feels so torn up on the inside. And I remember one day the Lord, I was talking with him and he said, Laura, you're like a piece of Swiss cheese. God talks to me real plain. He really does. He knows. He knows.
Speaking King James Version.
I like that.
No, it's fascinating.
No, it's very Southern.
It's the message with me. Yeah.
He said, you're like a piece of Swiss cheese. There's holes. There's a lot of places in your life that are filled in. There's a lot of good things there. There's a lot of good that's happened to you. There's been a lot of good that's been taught to you. But just for the fact that you're human and you were raised by human parents and you grew up in this human world, there's going to be gaps. And then you've taken some gunshot fire. Like there's holes that are wounds from other people, and they're real. He said, but instead of looking to them to fix what they broke, I know later we're going to probably talk about some forgiveness and stuff. Instead, look to me. I fill the holes and fill the roles.
Yeah.
Because one of the things he taught me is those wounded places came from roles missing in my life. People who said they were a certain role and maybe born into a certain role, but they didn't really feel it.
Yeah.
So I was just left with something lacking. And when I learned to go to the Lord and say, okay, God, I trust you to fill the roles and fill the holes. That did more, because that got to the depth of the issue. Yes, he's with me. Yes, he holds the tears. But I also need a solution. And so he's given me an action item. Don't just sit and wallow in the moment.
Right.
Now go take that action step and come and spend time in my presence and let me fill and fix what they broke.
And he's given us a process too.
Yeah.
And we can't skip the process. And I think that's when I hear he holds your tears and he hears your prayers, that he is holding them. I'm holding them right here and they're safe, but you still got a process you got to walk through.
Yeah.
And we can't skip that.
I think it's important to know that, it's when we're in a place of injury, when we're in a place of hurt, it's okay to be there for a moment. Number one, it's okay to hurt. I mean, that's normal. It's just like grieving. It's okay to grieve because that's what's happening. You're grieving loss. You're grieving whatever happened.
Disappointment, yeah.
You just can't stay there.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people do. They end up stuck. And I think, speaking to the roles in your life, and I think that's a wonderful statement. What I have found is that a lot of times we define the roles that people have in our lives instead of allowing God to define those roles.
Good. Yeah.
And when we do that, it's inevitable because people will fail us.
Yeah. And how many times do we just stay stuck for decades?
Yeah.
I didn't have the parents I should have had. I didn't have the role models.
This person hurt me. This person did that. That wasn't fair. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. That may be true.
Congratulations. You're part of the
is.
world.
Where are we going from here?
Right.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, it's just a matter of time before I fail you. It's just a matter of time because we're all people.
Yeah.
And, the heart hurt part is really the difficult obstacle.
Yeah.
Because depending on how we're wired emotionally, will also help us or cause us to define a relationship in such a way that is perhaps not God's plan.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times coming back to that is that, we have to learn to allow God to fill those roles and then learn that, using a pastor, I'm a pastor. I mean, a lot of people that want to be better, but they don't want to listen. They don't want to do what you're giving them to do. They want somebody, as you said, they just want a Band-Aid. Let me just do this. Let me just this. And the problem is that until you understand what those roles are and you give, maybe the right word's authority to those roles.
Yeah.
Then you never get to experience the good that comes, the healing that comes from those. New friends. I've learned in my life that every 5 or 6 years, I'm very rigid about this. Every 5 or 6 years,
You change your friends.
I change all my friends.
All your friends.
No, I look
Some of
for,
your friends are looking at the calendar
Right.
right
That's
now.
exactly
It's like,
right.
oh,
Time's
my
up.
That's
time's
exactly
up.
right. No, in truth, it's like I look at it and go for mentors in my life, people speaking
Oh,
into my
wow.
life,
Uh-huh.
because the truth is you outgrow some relationships. That's a tough one.
Oh, that's good.
But
Yeah.
we do. We outgrow some of these relationships. And I'm not saying you get rid of the old relationships, but if you don't have that new role
Yeah.
Mhm.
that God's placing in your life, and if you're not intentional about it, you'll remain stuck. And you know what happens? And I don't want to talk too much, but what I see happen a lot of times when we're talking about relationships and those hurts is that people tend to surround themselves with people that are hurt.
Oh, yeah.
That's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
That's so true. Misery loves company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what do you do? Now your mindset
Yeah.
is
Mhm.
stuck.
Yeah.
You're if let's say your husband or your what relationship, that it was a disaster and you were just sidetracked or whatever, just
Yeah.
what happened, then you find yourself around other ladies
Mhm.
who have been treated wrong. And, now you're part of the she-man male hater club.
Women, yeah. What? Yeah. How's that go?
doesn't say that
Yeah.
no, we don't need to say that when this world.
She, woman,
but-
man, hater. I don't know. Yeah.
But no, the truth
Yeah.
is, you surround us, and now we all
Yeah.
hate men.
Yeah.
And same for men. It's really important who we surround
Well,
ourselves
and
with.
and I think you have to decide: am I wanting to heal from this, or am I wanting to stay in this place?
Mhm.
I talked to a friend one time talking about a support group, and support groups are amazing
Mhm.
as long as their intent is for you to leave, right,
Mhm.
and not to stay there.
Yeah.
And not it is actually to find healing and not to let this become your peer group
Yeah.
for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Is there an end game? And that was a question I've always had about a lot of support groups. It's like, yes, there is wounding. They've all been wounded,
Mhm.
but are we moving past it?
Yeah.
Are we growing past it? So
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it comes back to what you said. It's the idea of, it's not forever.
Yeah.
But you can choose
mhm.
how long you want that to go. But I think the beauty in life is when we realize that God's got a better plan.
Mhm.
There's a time.
So much better.
Ecclesiastes tells us, I believe it's chapter 3, and there's a time for everything. And one of the specifics, there's a time
Yeah.
to heal.
Mhm.
And in other words, you don't have to stay hurt.
Mm-mm.
Life's hard. People are going to fail you. People are going to walk out of your life. You choose to either be bitter. So say you can either choose
Yep.
to be bitter or better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when we get hurt,
Mhm.
we want to isolate. What's the first thing we do? We
Yeah,
just want
do.
to.
We throw that wall up.
Oh, we want to put the wall up.
Yeah.
I want to be in my biggest, baggiest
Yeah.
sweats and watching TV and eating potato chips. Personally,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just. I just want to
What
throw
kind of
that in.
potato chips?
Any kind.
Oh,
Sour
any kind.
cream,
Any
cheddar.
kind.
Sour-
I'm totally
See?
fine. Whatever you want to bring me. But
Fritos.
that's. I'm totally fine with that. That's what we want to do. We want
Yeah.
to isolate, put
Yeah.
the wall up.
Yeah.
But we're talking about God's way of healing a wounded relationship.
Yeah.
What does He want you to do?
Mm.
Because when I'm upset and I've been hurt and somebody says, Kelly, get back out there,
Yeah.
jump back in,
Yeah.
that's the last thing I want to do. But what's God saying?
So the root of that is self-protection.
Mhm.
When we want to, crawl back in the bed and pull the covers up over our head, we want to survive. And so we feel like we've just been so attacked by whatever it is we've gone through, and we're hurting and we're wounded. And maybe there is a place for a moment to kind of like breathe and regroup.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But self-protection is rooted in fear.
Yeah.
And if fear is the lens that you constantly wear when you're evaluating relationships, you're going to start seeing every single relationship in your life as a threat.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh,
you're
boy,
going to
yes.
keep people away that God is bringing in to bring a supply of something that you need, like what you were talking about, changing mentors every 5 to 7 years. They're at where you're going.
Right.
And because you were so hurt and wounded in the past by whoever, whatever, you're going to put up a wall and you're going to misjudge them. And out of self-protection, you think you're preserving yourself, but actually you're dying behind the wall.
That's right. That's
because
right.
you've cut off your life source. God is a relational God. And he created us to be relational beings. We were talking right before filming about how important connection and relationship is with people in your life.
Yeah.
And so people listening may say, well, that sounds fabulous, but like, I don't know actually who I can trust because everybody around me has actually turned against me. And that may be true. I'm not going to argue. But I want to say there is one you can always turn to. And I don't say that just to sound religious and churchy. This is something I have lived out and walked out in my own life. One of my favorite passages of scripture is in Isaiah. I believe it's chapter 61. And it talks about how God sets the lonely into families. And so he's not talking about somebody that's just being born, putting you in an earthly family, because you can't be lonely if you were just born. So that means you already exist. You already have an earthly family, but you still find yourself very alone. It makes me think of that place of isolation that we put ourselves in as a way to self-protect, keep away anything that might hurt or harm. But then on down in that verse is when God starts talking about how he will be a husband to the husbandless. He will be a defender of widows. I started studying that out, and I think it's so neat where in Scripture, God shows himself as filling every single relational role that we could ever need. And there's 5 main areas. So he talks about himself as being a husband to the husbandless. So that's that spousal role. Because sometimes that has not been a safe place in people's lives.
Yep.
But yet that's a hole. Going back to that piece of Swiss cheese, that's a hole and it needs to be filled. You can go to God, and it's hard to even explain, but God will be there as your companion, your comfort, your guide, the person just to talk to about your day, the person that you can trust, that you can be vulnerable with him and he's not going to stab you in the back.
Yeah. So when you think about it, there's no one that's truly that for you in life.
Nobody.
Where you can say absolutely everything that's on your heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
He knows you best and he loves you most. Every part about who we are is fully known by him. And warts and all, and he loves us. So that spousal role, we see God, that the parental role, so many places in Scripture where it talks about God being our Father. One of my favorite, though, is I believe this is also in Isaiah, but his name El Shaddai. Shad is the root word right there is breasted one, like a mother, like a nursing mother. And it goes on to say, would a mother forget her child? She is more likely to forget her child than I am to forget you. So it's showing God's the nurturing aspect, the part of him that does draw us in and say, let me just hold you.
Right.
So that parental role, we see him as an elder brother, that sibling role. We see God, how he's a friend. So he's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. And then all throughout Scripture talks about how we have been born into a family. So that spousal role, the parental role, siblings, extended family, and friend. Yeah. There is literally not a wound, a relational wound in your life that God does not come in and fill the role and fill the hole. And when you go to him to recalibrate, then he'll bring other people around also to be this.
And how many people know that, though? Do you think? I don't think very many people realize that.
I think we can have the rote wisdom of that in our hearts, but not have the applicable part. And I think that's the question. So if we're in that place, if somebody's in that place and they're kind of lost in water and they're like, I have this gap, I mean, what are some practical steps of saying, how do I own that? How do I
apply that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you what I do.
Okay.
There's been many days as I've walked through the last several years of God just doing such a healing work in my life where relating to him as my father has been life-changing. I think we skip over that in Christianity a lot. And it's the core of the gospel is being born into a new family. We're now in a covenant with God. And so I will literally sit in my car before I walk into a place that maybe I know there's going to be hard conversations, or maybe I'm going to have to be around people that are going to be really challenging to be around, maybe even somebody that could potentially trigger and I just want to go run in the bathroom, and
Put
hide.
your wall back up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that self-protection is I
Uh-huh.
sit in my car and I say, God, I'm yours. And that's all I have to be. How would a daughter behave in this moment? If I knew I was walking in with my dad,
Wow. Yeah.
how would
Holding
I
my
behave?
hand.
Would I be afraid? And the peace of God just will pour all over me before walking into that place. You walk in a little taller when you know that heaven's backing you up, but then it also enables you with a love for people that you would not have on your own because you know your dad's got your back. You know that he's the one that heals and restores.
Yeah.
And so you can extend that same love to even the people that hurt you because you start seeing them with different eyes. You start seeing that they were also wounded. There were holes in their lives. There were roles in their lives that people didn't fill or they really messed up.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's such a reality for people too, is, as much as we know, we can hear people talking about this all day long. It is the application of knowledge that is wisdom.
I think, well, no, go ahead and finish
No,
your
you're
point. I was going to say, having young adult children, I'm amazed at how many of those kids would tell you that they did not have stable home lives.
Mhm.
It's shocking to me.
Yes.
My daughter actually came up to me
epidemic.
one time and she said it's more common to not
Oh, yeah,
than to have a
absolutely.
stable. So I think about that, and I think about there's so many young people out there who would say, I don't know what a dad looks like.
Ooh,
Right.
that's good.
I do not know.
That's right.
All I know is an abusive father or a father who wasn't there. So where do I start?
Mhm.
Because I have nothing to start with to understand what a parental role even
And I
looks
think
like.
the answer to that, it's multifaceted, obviously, but I think part of that is not being afraid to ask questions, is not being afraid to talk to somebody. One of my favorite things is, this is going to sound ridiculous to some people, but go talk to somebody that's really old, that's a believer.
That's truth. Yes.
Go talk to them, just because there is no attachment to your culture.
Right. Oh, that's true.
Their experiences are not yours. So there is no agenda.
And they'd be so blown
that
away
side.
that a young person wanted their wisdom.
And the truth is,
Yeah.
because they can speak to things that of the expanse of life, of look here, if you'll just look at it this way, here's what, and usually it's stories. And that's the power for me, is you could talk to me all day long and give me figures and diagrams and all that stuff. And I'm just like, well, a story speaks volumes. And I think sometimes one of the steps is go find somebody, to talk to.
Yeah.
That can help you understand, because we do have false ideas. And here's the problem. It's just like in relationships. I've seen this, somebody will go through a marriage breakup, go through a divorce, and it's just horrid. Maybe there was abuse or whatever. Then they go into a new relationship.
Same thing.
Same thing happens. And, then I've seen it multiple times. And, and it's like, I don't understand why all these broken people are drawn to me. I'm like,
Yeah. What's the common denominator here?
We need to have a hard conversation.
Yeah.
What's the one thing that is
That's exactly
that's
right.
off? Yeah.
And you have to look and say, okay, we can't carry our brokenness into a new relationship and attach that hurt and that sin, I'm going to call it, to somebody else. Because all we're doing is we're bringing that hell back on ourselves.
Yeah, we are.
And we're going to experience the same hurt. So it really does come down to that.
So what do you say to somebody who just says, I'm so tired of the wait. I'm tired of the constant roller coaster. It's always the same situation, always the same scenario. Where do
I get to be
where
healed?
where do you go to find out what is it in me that is not healed, that needs to be healed so that I can have a better relationship?
Yeah.
Where do you start?
I would say be willing to, number one, get in the presence of God and say, God, I'm willing to be vulnerable. Show me where it's me. Show me where
That's hard.
where I'm participating in my own chaos.
And boy, we do that so much. We don't even
know.
But you know what? It's the best feeling in the world, I think, sometimes to realize it is me. I can change this. I can do something about this. It's
That's the
actually very
truth.
liberating feeling when you're dealing with a relationship issue, right?
And we live in a culture, though, that is so meistic that it's never our fault. And I see that a lot. So, we're saying, be vulnerable, be all this.
Yeah.
When we're being vulnerable, you have to say, okay, what if I'm the problem?
Yeah.
What if there's something in me that is broken and I need to deal with it? I need to stop blaming other people
Yeah.
and deal with my stuff. You
Yeah.
can't heal a relationship
Yeah.
until you heal you, until you allow God to change you. Then
Yeah.
you can work on that relationship, but you got to own that.
Yeah. And
Number
it's
one.
shocking, don't you think, how fast the Holy Spirit will reveal those things to
He
you?
answers so quick.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I think another thing to me, I'll just add to it, is, don't act rashly during emotional moments of your life. I see that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's like step back. And when you get wisdom, when somebody's speaking into your life and they're helping you see that thing that's going on or gives you some guidelines to help you, don't act rashly, because when you're charged emotionally,
Yeah.
you'll say things,
Yeah.
you will do things. And let's be honest, people will find themselves, if they're in a broken relationship and they have this need in their life that they won't met, they'll throw themselves into something else that increases the pain instead of heals the pain.
It's so true. It's cyclical.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because you're looking to other people to fill the
That's
holes.
right. And it comes back to what you said in the beginning. It's the roles. Let God fill those roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you will continue to attract people that have your same level of brokenness or your same level of health and wholeness.
Yeah.
So you can change what you attract. Get in the presence of God. Let Him point out what needs to be worked on. And the coolest thing with God, if He points it out, it means you're ready to deal with it. He doesn't point it out if you're
So
not
we
ready.
should be excited about that.
You should be excited. Take it as a
We should.
compliment. Like,
Yes.
God, you keep putting your finger on this. You must know that I'm ready to deal with it. Oh, and you said you're going to walk with me through it, and I'm not going to have to do this by myself.
Yeah.
You're not just going to leave me alone to figure it out. Oh, you put the Spirit of God on the inside of me to lead me into all truth and to show me which way I should go. Okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
For men, our response to that is typically fix it.
Yeah.
And I've seen this a lot, is that when we recognize something in our lives and we recognize a weakness or a flaw or something we need to work on that God reveals to us, whatever, we start seeing it in other people's lives. So we want to fix we want to fix that. Stop it.
Stop.
I don't
Just
know if that's just
listen.
men.
Stop it.
Just
It's
listen.
stupid.
No.
It's the dumbest thing. You're like,
Yeah.
well, just stop. It's like, no. Fix you.
Yes.
Let God
the things
fix
that drive you the craziest about somebody else, stop and listen. Am I doing the same thing?
And if I point out the things that I see in people that bug me are usually because that's me.
Oh, that's convicting.
All right here. Yes.
It's like what irritates.
Like, okay,
So
God,
true.
I got you. I got you.
So true.
Okay, so as a takeaway, someone, like I said, they just came across this and they are wounded and they're like, this is all fine and good. I appreciate you guys. This is great. Where do I start?
And it can't be suck it up, buttercup.
That's
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. I'm out then.
People try that, and it doesn't
rescue.
help.
you end up right
But what
where
would
you
you
started.
say to those?
Yeah. Well, okay, so you're wounded in relationship, but you also heal in relationship. So take the wall down. Maybe not with everybody. Boundaries are good.
Safety.
Yeah. Look for safe people. People who respect your no. That's a good indicator of a safe person. If they can't take a no from you, they're not safe. They can still be in your life, but keep them on the outer edge. Or don't keep them in your life, So safe people are willing to listen to you. They're willing to hear what you're saying, but they're also willing to speak truth into your life, even if it's not what you want to hear, but they're going to deliver that truth with love because they're going to have the fruit of the Spirit on the inside of them. So that's the vehicle they're going to deliver that. And don't be afraid. So you're going to have to fight through some fear, but goodness, perfect love casts out fear. And so be willing to get back in the arena and don't stay stuck behind your wall.